Hey everyone, I'm Stephanie, and I believe that the right book at the right time can change lives, and that all readers should read children's literature, especially adults. So that's what we do here on the Kid Lit Love podcast. We celebrate all things children's literature: picture books, early readers, middle grade, and young adult novels for readers of all ages. In each episode, we'll talk with children's literature authors and discuss their books, their hopes, their dreams for readers, their writing process, and much, much more. Whether you're an adult reading to their inner child or connecting the young readers in your life with fantastic books, you've come to the right place. So grab a notebook to build your TBR, and let's get to today's episode of Kid Lit Love. Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Kid Lit Love podcast. I'm Stephanie Affinito, your Kid Lit loving host, inviting you back to another bookish conversation with a children's literature author. Today, I'm talking with Alan Barillaro. Alan is the Academy Award-winning writer and director of the animated short film Piper, and he's been the supervising animator on many other popular theatrical releases, including The Incredibles, WALL-E, and Brave. He's also the author of the illustrated middle grade novels Where the Water Takes Us and Bun's Rabbit. He's here today to celebrate his picture book debut titled Today Will Be Eaten, a beautiful, beautiful, timeless tale of friendship and resilience that's perfect for every reader. I can't wait to talk with him all about it, so we are going to jump right to the episode. Alan, welcome to Kid Lit Love. I'm so glad you're here today.
Thanks so much for having me, Stephanie. I really appreciate it.
I cannot wait to talk about this book. I said beautiful twice for a reason in the introduction, this
Thank you.
beautiful, beautiful, timeless picture book. But before we get there, I do like to start off with authors telling us a bit about themselves and their work and the journey that they've taken to and through children's literature to the book we're talking about today. So take it away.
Yeah, sure, sure. I don't know how, as an artist, you always dabble in different mediums. So I don't know how different I am from others, but I started in animation, but I always loved, and wanted to be an author, children's book author, just didn't necessarily have the confidence to do so. So I moved into animation and I worked at Pixar for years and years, 25 years. So storytelling, kid storytelling, but also storytelling that was felt for everyone, for adults, for kids, kind of was, what I felt I was always a part of. And then I moved after my short film Piper. I really, really felt like, well, maybe I have the confidence to try the thing I've always wanted to try. So it took many years. So
I would hope so.
anybody out there who feels like there's a confidence, to write, that it took me quite a long time. I always wrote quietly, but didn't tell anybody
Mhm.
that the same old story. But after Piper, I took the jump, and since then I've wrote a middle grade novel, Where the Water Takes Us, moved on to Bun's Rabbit, which is a series which I'm super having a really fun time with. And yeah, my first picture book. Again, always one of those things like I revere picture books. So it's like poetry, and I know from short filmmaking, it's very hard to distill ideas. It's in a way I find it easier to go longer than it is to boil it
Yeah.
down and be really succinct in those choice of words and story and the images. So it was yeah, it was something I just tackled. So I'm really happy to say that I have a picture book
I am too. I am too. But I
Thanks.
think I'm even happier to hear you say, of all things, Piper, a film. That finally gave you the confidence to write. It's like for the rest of us who might struggle with writing, or the kids that we work with who struggle with writing, we can now say, hey, this isn't you. It is all of us. It is a collective thing, and we all have the story. We just need the confidence to find it. I think I love that.
It's so true. And I'll even go further to say, when you're in film, it's a collective art form. So you're working, whether it's stage play, you're with a lot of people. We can say we're all doing this. So you get a certain amount of confidence of that. But the vulnerability of being an artist, like who's putting their work out by themselves, or they're a writer or a painter, that is another level to me where now you're really putting yourself out there, and that vulnerability even approaching your work. Like this is what I would like to say. That's hard. So yeah, I think anybody who's trying it know that we all feel that way. And I would I would even admit like going through the Academy Awards, it's not just that one evening where you find out whether you win or not. It's actually a week of spending with actually really months where you're on a certain amount of press tours and hang out with artists, and you meet a lot of people that I revered my whole career. And no matter what level there are, they're all saying the same thing. I never thought this idea would get made. It's been a 10, 20-year journey. Um, and then you start to look at time differently and go, oh, wow, this was not some instant thing, whether I have it or not. You put a lot of work into these things. There's a lot of twists and turns.
Yeah.
I think across the board, everybody said the same thing, which is, I cannot believe I'm here. And no matter their success, it's always a miracle. We say in film that the film even
Yeah.
got made. So I went into publishing with that very sincere, like, it's a gift to be able to get published and to never take it for granted. This is something everyone loves to do. There's so many talented people out there. So much of it is luck and perseverance and just putting in your time. So yeah, I think it's more important as an artist as I get older. I look now to focus on your body of work and not the single piece of work because too
Mhm.
often I felt like I would judge what I was doing in that moment and walk away versus going, no, 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 no painter just puts away a painting and goes, that's it, I'm done, and this is going to represent me.
Yeah.
It's your body of work, so you just put that forward.
Yeah, it's the journey altogether, right?
Yeah,
It's that
yeah,
process. When I was a kid, I had a little suitcase. I loved the suitcase, Care Bears of all things.
very
It said
nice.
half the fun is getting there. And that's
Oh,
that whole picture, right? And you get to enjoy that process. And then we as readers just get to hold this in our hands and enjoy it. Um, so I want to go right to the book. I
sure.
I will hold some of my opinions, although I think my listeners, they know me, they can guess that I have loved this book. But Today Will Be Eaten, which is one of the best titles that I think I've ever seen in a picture book. I would love for you to tell listeners about it, and the inspiration behind it is what I'm really curious about as well.
Sure. I mean, it's a book about a ladybug and a dragonfly that if hit, get hit by a storm and suddenly are floating upside down in the water on their backs, and sure that they're going to be eaten, that predator and prey flowing downstream. And for me, a lot of my stories, it's like this meditation of moments where your anxiety and the unknown really get too much for you and you just need a breath and a moment. And maybe in life there's a lot of unknowns, and a lot of the times I think when I'm talking to myself when I'm working on my projects, you really, when you draw something, you're not sure where it's going, but then it starts to come out or you start writing. But these themes of we're all in this together. We all maybe can take a breath at times. And sometimes the unknown might seem scary, but also there's beauty in it. There's beauty not knowing where life is going.
Yeah.
So I wanted something very reassuring, something that for adults and kids, because that's always my perspective, that you could read and just take off the shelf when you need a breath and reset.
Yeah.
And perhaps I was doing that for myself. I mean, Piper's a story about a bird that has overcome her fear of the waves, and yeah, I think it's these little it's kind of what it is in a nutshell. So it's different in the sense of the breath that you need to take and not a lot of plot and story. That was all very intentional to have this kind of feeling. Is what I really was after.
Well, you might not have known it at the time, but I'm pretty sure you wrote this book for me.
I'm glad, I wrote it for I like to think about it as like I wrote it for the little bug in all of us, the little
Yes.
the little
Yes.
um weird bugs that there's that part of me I feel like that I really identify with of like what will I do in this issue, and how do we help each other. It's not
Yeah.
always, it feels individual, but there's always others around that support you in some way, even just a presence.
Yeah. And that's the beauty of this book. Well, there's a couple of things that are so beautiful about it, but whether you are, a 6-year-old or a 60-year-old, the 6-year-old inside of you, if you've ever been an overthinker or an over worrier. Like as a kid, I could probably say, maybe I didn't wake up and think today I'll be eaten, but I would wake up and think what's going to go wrong, today. It's just an overactive mind. So I think no matter young or old, this book is going to hit you in like that inner child part that just reminds you it is okay to pause. It is okay to breathe, and it is okay to not know. As scary as that may feel for some of us, the book just feels like it literally feels like a breath. The pacing of it, the number of words on the page, the way that you've put the colors and the art, which I will ask you about. Oh, it just makes you feel like everything is going to be okay. And I was going to ask you, like, did you need that lesson as much as I needed that lesson? And it sounds like it
Oh,
helped.
for sure.
It helped you
Yeah.
along the way too.
Yeah, and as far as like inspiration, I always remembered sitting in the grass looking up at the sky, or my parents had a cabin on the lake and laying on in the water and looking up, and how the world you're living in, you see every day can just feel a little different, and a reset on life, which sounds maybe strange to say, but visually, I really react to that kind of thing.
Mhm.
Looking up the clouds and seeing them move fast by. And that really was where the story kind of started at the beginning of me, like the feeling of that.
Yeah.
And I was always like an observer. My mom would always say, like, you never looked up as a kid. Like your all head would, it was exhausting to walk you down one block because you're just head down staring at bugs and tripping over things. And I was just a liability crossing the street. But I think that's where this comes from, that
Yeah.
feeling of, well, I worry for them in the same way. Why is that? Why is this world, why is it working that way? What's with that bug? And that was really the first image that really came to me as a story of the feeling and tone. And I I I, I search for those ideas, and I kind of hold on to them when there's something visually that sticks with you.
Yeah.
And I mean years and years ago, kind of going back to the beginning of the conversation.
Yeah.
I'm not one to say, hey, I wrote that song in 5 minutes, and or that.
Right.
It's, to me, it's much more like, if that idea stays with me over the years, it has some power that I'm not sure what it is, and I keep exploring it. So
Yeah.
I kind of work on things that way, and then when they feel like they take off, I kind of put more effort into it and see where it goes.
Mhm.
Um, but I'm very, it's almost like I sneak up on the idea. I don't want to scare it away. And then if
Yeah.
there's something interesting, I see how that
Yeah.
progresses.
Well, that's interesting to hear you say that because, as the story continues, floating on their backs, they're literally they're going with the flow, like
Yeah,
literally, so to speak,
very
with
little. Yes.
with the stream. But I think what I also loved, and maybe what just hit me more as an adult as I, you know, try to grow up and figure out, life, no matter what age we are, is that, they were in a situation, they were worried. They decided to set those worries aside for a moment to go with the flow. And then what happened? So did everybody else, right? The
You
situation
got it.
didn't change, but the inner working of the characters changed, which made them not get eaten because everyone was, well, what are you doing? Maybe I should not eat you and float on my back too. And I thought, that is it. You can only control yourself and just go with it. It was just such a great lesson for me.
Oh, I'm happy that landed. When you do this stuff on your own, you never know if that intention's going to land. So I appreciate that. The movies, you find out pretty quickly. You go into a theater and people tell you whether
Right.
whether they're vocal or not, how they're feeling, and you really leave the room going, that didn't work. With books, it's very much like, I'll find out. I don't know when I'll find out. Can't I can't follow someone home from a bookstore and say, how did you like how did you like that? So yeah, that's nice to hear. Thanks.
Yeah. Oh, you're so welcome. Now, let's talk about the beautiful illustrations. You have this beautiful line art. You've got this, oh, the watercolor. It feels like safety on a page. You feel safe, you feel at ease, you feel almost this serene kind of quality. How do you do that? What is your process like?
I, d- I don't know if I think I search for those themes, so it's nice to hear, but I don't really know whether I'm pulling it off. I think it helps me sort if I approach my work with those themes in mind, allows you to start choosing materials and not to get caught up on the drawing for drawing's sake. There's many times if I look through my work, I get frustrated or I don't like it at all. I want to
Yeah.
throw it away because of some technical aspects or that didn't work or that could have been better. I've learned to kind of ignore that and just go, I'd rather chase the emotional impact that I'm looking for and the feeling and forget about, live with imperfections and forget about trying to be perfect. So a lot less erasing, a lot less, even with this book, the way I did that was, um, I would draw it multiple times to take the pressure off. I mean, for those out there that, that might be feeling the same thing with their own illustrations, I don't even like to buy high quality paper too often or draw on the first page of my sketchbook. I don't like the pressure. I try to find and rather than saying I have to draw this image for the book and wow, this book, then it'll be in print and I'm already feeling the stress even talking
Yes.
about it. I just go, I want to just capture this feeling and I'll draw this 100 times if I have to.
Yeah.
And I'll just draw frog and, and fish and ladybug over and over again. And at the end, maybe even weeks later, I'll select which one was right for the book. So
Mm.
my process is getting around um, my own anxieties, I guess, and stresses, and really just chasing the emotional value of a sketch versus a perfect drawing or
Yeah.
the quality of the paint. That's kind of my go-to. On Buns Rabbit, I used ink a lot of the times just simply because I couldn't erase, and that forced me to not try to draw this perfect thing. And it really freed me into going, oh, what's this story about? What could it
Yeah.
what should this feel like? What am I really leaving the reader with? And yeah, maybe that foot is not as nice as it could have been, and but
It is.
too bad.
But it is. But it is. And it sounds like it's the artistic version of just laying on your back and
Yeah,
letting it go and see where it goes.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm telling myself this all the time. Hopefully,
Yeah.
it
Now,
helps others.
as your book goes out into the world, what is your hope for readers, young at heart, or for anybody who gets the book in their hands and has a chance to experience it?
Oh, my hope. Let's see. I first and foremost, story has to be a story, and you just want them to fall into that world. And my goal always is to fall in love with a character, and then the world next, and really, really connect with that character. It's like get out of the way. I think that comes from me being an animator, where, I want to be Mike or Sully. I don't want them to see me. I want them to see the character Nemo.
Yeah.
Whatever they've asked me to play at Pixar, try to play that really honestly and feel that connection. Um, so that's always my hope. And then after that, yeah, that breath, that break, I hope they can come to that book when they're just like, that's a moment, a breath that I need in a little reset. That would be my
Yeah.
dream, because books that have done that for me, we all have them on our shelves no matter how old we can go back to them and it just puts us in this place of comfort or whatever it is we're looking for emotionally in that moment. I don't know about you, but I find myself reading books. I'll go to books that I love just to read a chapter and get that feeling. I love when a book you can open it up anywhere and go, ah, that's what I need. That little poem, that one little thing, that one picture book, that drawing. So to be in that space for anybody is all an artist could ever hope for.
Yeah. Well, I hug those books when
Same.
they make me feel that way, and I hug
Yeah.
yours. So yours
Oh,
is in the hugged list for sure,
thank you.
Alan.
Thank you.
Now, I know this one has just come out into the world, but I always love to ask authors if there's, something current, a project you're working on, or anything you might be able to give us a little sneak peek into.
Sure. About my process, I try to keep as many books going as possible. So what I really try to avoid is one project at a time because
Mhm.
it really helps me to hop around and move around. So I try to keep 5 books in my head and working on different parts of the process, and even more if I can. I just even if I have a hard deadline, I will jump to another story and work because it gives me answers and clues, and I never kind of get writer's block.
Yeah.
So this year's been a fun year because it just so happens two books landed with Today Will Be Eaten and then Bun's Rabbit 2 has will be out in the fall, which I'm really, really excited because it's a series. A lot of what is set up in that first book. This rabbit is going on quite a fantastical journey, and the themes that I'm after are really deep in that story that I'm excited to see how that resonates with readers. And then a companion book I could say to this picture book I'm really really excited about. It will feature some of the characters you see in this book today, so it's fun. It's so fun to go into a world and go back to it with characters and explore that even more. There's many stories to me in this world that I'd love to kind of continue on. So that would be my sneak peek for this time next year, that you might be seeing another picture book with some with some
That makes me
some
happy.
familiar faces.
That makes me very happy to know.
Oh, thanks. It's been a blast to work on that.
So, where is the best place for listeners to find you online so that they can keep up with some of these projects that are coming next?
Sure. You know, maybe alanbarillaro.com, which I know is a tongue twister of a last name, but
I'll put
maybe
the
there's a
links in
link.
the show notes. It's okay.
Thanks. But I try to create resources there, wherever you find books you can find me, but there you'll see new, a little bit of animation, a lot of stuff for schools and educational resources. So if that's useful to the classroom, that's great too.
Yeah. And the coolest little butterfly is your cursor moves, by the way,
Thank you.
listeners. It's really
Yes,
cool.
I cannot stop animating. Yeah, my brain animates everything I draw, so it's really hard
Yes,
to
I
to
loved it.
resist making everything move.
Well, thank you so much, Alan, for coming on to talk about this book. Beautiful, beautiful book. I'm so grateful and excited to be part of launching it into the world with you. And I know listeners are going to love it. It's going to be hugged and shared
Oh,
everywhere for sure.
thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate the time.
Listeners, thank you for listening to another episode of Kidlit Love, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for listening to today's episode of the Kidlit Love podcast. You'll find links to all of the books, resources, and ideas mentioned in the show notes and at alitlife.com. You'll also find Kidlit Love on Substack. That's where you'll find posts for each episode, monthly Kidlit roundups, and an invitation to join my summer book club and go deeper into the world of children's literature. And if you loved this podcast and want more, you might like to listen to my other podcast called Get Literate. It's a podcast that explores all things books and reading, notebooks and writing to build a life you love. One more thing. If you love what you listened to today, please take a moment to rate and review the podcast, or take a screenshot of the episode and text it to a friend. This helps the podcast grow and builds our bookish community of kid lit love. Thanks for listening.